Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Max AC channel. Ever since last year, I've been wanting to make more recipes for this month's theme, so we'll be doing Nostalgic November once again, where we'll be taking a look at 4 more easy and delicious recipes from my childhood that will hopefully help you to create memories of your own. For this last episode, we will be making some Lobster Butternut Squash Ravioli. For this recipe, if you want to make the dough from scratch, you will need 2¼ cups or so, or 300 grams of 00 flour. You can also use all-purpose flour if that's all you have. You also need 3 eggs, 1 egg yolk, and some salt. Or you can use pre-made wonton wrappers or pre-made fresh lasagna. Then for the filling you will need 2 defrosted or fresh lobster tails or claws, 1 2-pound butternut squash, 3 to 4 garlic cloves, some olive oil for roasting, 1 cup of ricotta cheese, some lemon zest, some nutmeg, and some salt and pepper. Then for the sauce you will need 4 tablespoons of butter, 2 shallots, 4 tablespoons of drained capers, 1 lemon's worth of juice, some lemon zest, a cup of heavy cream, some chives and parsley for some optional garnish, and some salt and pepper. And to boil your ravioli you will of course need some water and some salt. These ingredients are enough for about 4 to 6 servings, so adjust as needed. First we'll prepare the pasta dough, so if you want to make it from scratch, onto a clean work surface, add the flour and make a well in the center of it. Break the eggs into the well and add in the egg yolk and salt as well. Then, using a fork, gently beat the eggs and yolks. If your eggs start spilling out of the well, don't worry, just try to keep it together and keep it from running off of your work surface. Once your eggs are fully mixed, slowly incorporate the flour into the eggs by spooning off a little flour at a time while mixing it together. Keep doing this until the mixture in the middle is thick enough so that it's no longer runny. Then, using a bench scraper, start to fold it all together by cutting the egg mixture into the flour. When the dough becomes even and shaggy, you can use your hands to form the dough into a mound and start kneading it. Continue kneading the dough for a few minutes until it comes together into a workable ball. It might be a bit tough at first, but eventually the dough will soften and be easier to knead. But after a few minutes, if the dough is too wet and is sticking to your work surface, add a little bit of flour to the dough. And if the dough is too dry, add a spritz of water or oil to the dough. Continue to knead the dough by pushing the dough with the heel of your hand and then rotating it for another 10 minutes or so until it has a nice smooth appearance to it and the dough bounces back if you lightly press into it. Then, wrap the dough with plastic wrap and let it rest for 30 minutes to an hour in the fridge. Next, we'll cook the filling ingredients, so preheat the oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. Then, while we wait for your lobster tails, split these in half and then, using a knife or scissors or your fingers, loosen the meat from the shell by pulling it, but leave the meat in the shell. Then for the squash, peel it and then chop it up into medium cubes. Add both the lobster and squash cubes to a baking sheet lined with parchment paper or aluminum foil, along with some whole garlic cloves, and then coat everything with a generous amount of olive oil, and then sprinkle this with some salt and pepper. Your oven should be done preheating, so place your filling ingredients in and bake this for 10 to 15 minutes, or until the lobster tail meat is opaque and cooked through. Then remove the lobster tails and garlic cloves, and then bake the squash pieces for another 5 to 10 minutes if needed, until they become fork tender. Then in a mixing bowl or food processor, add in the squash, roasted garlic cloves, ricotta, lemon zest, nutmeg, and some salt and pepper if needed, and give this a mash or blend and mix everything together into a smooth paste. Then chop your lobster meat into small pieces and then mix this into your squash blend. You can use the food processor to mix this in as well, but I like having the lobster pieces be visible chunks rather than blended into the filling, but up to you. Then once your filling is ready, grab your dough from the fridge and lightly dust a work surface with flour. Cut the dough in half to make it easier to work with, and roll out one piece of the dough with a rolling pin into a rectangle about 1/16 of an inch in thickness, about 30 inches long, and 6 inches wide. The dough will be a bit tricky to roll at first, but just continue to roll and stretch gently with your hands until the dough is as thin as you can make it. The dough is thin enough when you can see your hand's shadow through the dough. Once the dough is ready, scoop about a tablespoon or so of filling onto the dough, spacing them out in either 1 or 2 lines, about an inch or 2 apart. Then, once all of the filling has been placed onto the dough, brush a little water onto the dough in between each filling, and then either fold the dough over the single line or place another piece of rolled out dough over the 2 lines of filling and seal the filling in by pressing around the filling, removing any air in between each pocket of filling. Then, using a sharp knife or cookie cutter, divide the ravioli into individual ravioli pieces. You can use a fork at this time to crimp the edges to give it a design, but this is optional. Also, if you're using pre-made wonton wrappers, the process will be similar, just place the filling in the center of one wrapper, and then place another one over to seal the filling in. For any dough scraps, knead these together and roll the dough again, and you'll be able to fill a few more ravioli from the scraps. When you're ready to cook your ravioli, set a large pot to boil and add in some salt. You want the water to be pretty salty since that's where the ravioli is going to get most of its saltiness, so make sure to add enough so that it tastes like the ocean. While we wait, we'll prepare the cream sauce. So in a large saucepan over medium heat, melt some butter, and then while we wait, finally chop up your shallots. Then once the butter has melted, add in the shallots and capers and cook these for a few minutes or until they start to soften. Then add in the lemon juice and zest to the pan, and then reduce it by half to help remove some of the acidity before mixing in the cream. Let the sauce simmer for 3 minutes or so, stirring constantly until the sauce thickens up, and add any salt and pepper at this time if desired. Then set this aside for when your ravioli is ready. Speaking of which, when your pot of water comes to a boil, drop in your ravioli a few at a time to not overcrowd the pot, and let this cook, stirring occasionally, for 2 to 3 minutes or until the ravioli floats up to the surface of the water. Drain them from the water and transfer them immediately to the cream sauce along with a little bit of the pasta water, giving everything a mix to coat the ravioli in the sauce. Then transfer the ravioli to a serving plate and continue boiling more ravioli and making more sauce if needed. When you're ready to serve the dish, garnish with some chopped parsley or chives, and with that, your lobster butternut squash ravioli is ready to eat. I was trying to think of a really special recipe to end this year's round of Nostalgic November dishes with, and after thinking back on the dishes I've enjoyed in the past, this ravioli dish came back to memory after reaching back to my childhood. Specifically, this ravioli dish came from the same restaurant I mentioned in my tiramisu recipe that my old neighbor used to take us out to for dinner when I was younger. Of course, before dessert, we'd have a full meal, and one of the dishes I would always order would be this ravioli dish. Actually, I don't entirely recall what was in the ravioli, but I do remember there being lobster and maybe butternut squash in it, so I tried my best to replicate it to the best of my memory, and it wasn't exactly the same as I remember, but I think it still turned out just as tasty. I do also remember the sauce having capers in it, since that was the first time I had seen that ingredient, and it's what made me remember this dish from many years ago, when we used the capers in the cucumber salad recipe a couple months ago. And so I decided to choose ingredients I thought were present in the original and made my best guess as to what else to use for the filling and sauce, and I think this version turned out great, with the savory squash pairing well with the sweet lobster and creamy lemony caper sauce. Speaking of ingredients, you of course are welcome to adjust the filling ratio to add more lobster or more ricotta cheese, or even add other ingredients such as parmesan, or even completely replace the filling with any other of your favorite ravioli fillings. As long as you have dough to fill, you can really fill it with anything you want. Speaking of the dough, normally the ratio is 100 grams of flour per 1 egg, but if you want to be more precise, many recommend 1.64 grams of flour for every 1 gram of egg. Though with some of the ingredients getting stuck to the fork as well as your hands, I find that there's no reason to be so precise with your measurements. You can also always add flour or oil or water if needed to adjust the dough by feeling. Also, you can use the same dough to make all kinds of pasta dishes, such as spaghetti, lasagna, and macaroni. If you want to make this ahead, you can form the ravioli and then freeze them by placing them in the freezer on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper and dusted with flour for a few hours. Then transfer the frozen ravioli to an airtight container or freezer bag, and these should last up to 3 months in the freezer. Then when you're ready to cook them, you can add the frozen ravioli directly to the boiling salted water without thawing. They'll take a little longer to cook than unfrozen ravioli, but they should cook in the same way, with them being ready to add to the sauce once they float to the top of the water. When trying to find more information about this specific recipe, I did manage to find the restaurant's website on the Wayback Machine, but it didn't archive the menu images. And the only mention I could find was one Yelp review from over 10 years ago, which mentioned the lobster ravioli but didn't have any pictures of it, and I couldn't find any other photos of it either. Unfortunately, this restaurant is no longer open, so I may never know the original recipe, but being able to enjoy this dish is a nice way to reminisce on my childhood and to enjoy a delicious meal. So, hopefully, if you make it yourself, you'll be able to form your own memories of this dish and share lots of stories as my neighbor once did over this delicious Italian dish. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. In the comments below, let me know how it went if you decided to make it, and let me know if there's anything you want me to make next. Like this video, share with your friends and family, and subscribe to this channel for more episodes of the Max AC channel. And remember, if you want to stay cool in the kitchen, turn your AC to the max and watch the Max AC channel. The dough is thin enough when you can see your hand's shadow through the dough.